So, Riley, you made it. Welcome. You got through the traffic jam.
I did. I got through it. Thank you for having me.
Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
This is our first podcast. First podcast interview.
Yep. My first interview.
In the cabin. There's chickens out back.
Yep, we got the chickens. I like your setup.
They stink.
That's not nearly as bad in here.
Well, there's some bad stinks out there. Like, it'll waft.
Oh,
Occasionally, like. And then our cats been pooing underneath the porch out front. So it just wafts around the driveway.
Oh, God.
So when I'm over here, I'm like getting cat shit, and then I come over here and get chicken shit. I'm like, what's happening?
Do you really clean it up, or you just sort of let nature?
Well, I started getting today. I got spray that you like spray the ground, and it's a horrible, like, weird citrus spray. They don't.
Oh, like keep them from shitting there.
Yeah, and I spray it. Now I catch them shitting there. I spray them with it, and they're like, oh God.
Oh, there you go.
But now the cats, I was telling you earlier, they got their cones on, so they're all locked up in the house because they got their little whatever surgery done. So,
oh,
yeah,
God,
highway, what's going on out there? You said there's a rock climber?
I don't know. It's something about a rock climber. I don't know. There wasn't like an accident on the road. There's a bunch of fire trucks and like rescue vehicles all parked on the side. And,
I know. I drove back at like 1, and every time I drive the highway on the weekend, especially a weekend like this where it's super nice and sunny, everyone's like going. And it was so busy. I pulled out at one point on the ocean side, and I could barely even get back in. Not even crossing 2 lanes.
Do you get road rage? Do you get angry? Because I get angry.
I try, kinda. Not really.
I mean, not like necessarily like flipping people off, yelling, but are you like pissed in your truck?
I do deep breaths. I'll be like, well, I was telling you, a Subaru girl yesterday. So we're coming down the double lanes down to the Potter Marsh, and it's like it all doubles up, and there's like pure traffic. And the Subaru, I remember it had a Hillary sticker on it, and it was just a classic Subaru with like a kayak on it, and they were kind of going slow in the 65 zone or whatever, and then they pulled out, and then they were right behind me, and right at Potter, they went for a pass. Yeah. Like the tiny little spot in front of me. I'm like, what are you guys doing? There's like a million cars in front of you. What are you doing?
I know.
I was kind of shocked.
I was following a dude coming down, and he was so far off the dude in front of him's ass. He was like having to hit his brakes. Like every fucking 10 seconds, he's having to hit his brakes. I'm like, just back off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, last year, you know, the worst one that's going to get someone is the McHugh Creek pullout.
Dude, that was so bad.
Because, you know, people just stop in the middle of the thing. And what did I do? So the guy stopped. I see him. He stopped, and I'm going fast. You know, there's that because you come around the corner. They're stopped.
You heading towards Girdwood?
Yeah, coming towards Girdwood, and I'm like, oh, they're stopped. Okay. And you start kind of hitting the brakes, thinking you're trying to get someone to not run into you, but the timing of it all, I was coming up on them, and they were about to go. I was trying. No, that's what it was. They stopped randomly. They weren't even stopped. They were going like, I'm going to stop now. It was like a late turning stop, as I'm like hitting the brakes. Timing it, like, but I didn't want to slam it because I saw this guy behind me hadn't seen that we were stopping yet. He was in the Hummer. I just remember it was a H2 Hummer or whatever, and I was like, oh God, he's coming behind me, and I waited until I juked into the shoulder, but I could, in my rear view mirror, it was a sunny day, I remember, it was real hot and sunny. In the rear view mirror, I could see the heat and smoke coming off his tires because he was hitting the brake so hard right behind my ass. Like, it was like, and I went, juke. And he slid it right to the spot where I was at, and the other guy was still there, and he levered up. And I was like, whew.
Where were we?
Facebook arguing.
Oh yeah, you can't actually have a conversation with anyone. I mean, people nowadays just suck at having conversations in general.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's because of social media.
Yeah, because everyone...
Like, I have so many friends, they meet this girl or whatever, and they're just fucking texting. It's like, you're always hanging out with them, it's just like paragraph-long text. And then they meet the girl, or like me and Sam, like we went on a double date, I won't name the friend, we went out with them, and he was literally texting this girl obsessively for like a month. And then we all went out on this double date, it was so fucking awkward. They don't talk. It's like, I don't know if they expend all their words over text throughout the day, and then when they actually see each other, they got nothing, or...
And I'm so glad I'm old enough and married that I never dealt with the Tinder dating, meeting on text forever, and then, because like, me and my wife now can
when did you meet
sit in a room, 2003.
Oh, okay.
So we've been married like 15 years.
Damn.
And we can sit in a room both on our phones, and it's like, fine, you know, to a certain extent, but now I feel like if I meet, you know, some new person or even a random friend, and if I was sitting there talking to you and you're sitting there staring at your phone, you know, not engaging in conversation, it becomes rude.
Yeah.
You know, but then everyone does it. And it's becoming
Well, I'm guilty of it too. Like, especially if you're in like a group of people, it's like a lull in the conversation. You're like, oh, this is awkward. I'm just gonna stare at this. Wait for someone to talk to me. Like, I don't know.
Or you do it in the airport. You do it anywhere. Just waiting. You instantly. And I actually force myself to try to like don't stare at the phone. Don't stare.
Yeah, like put the phone down.
Don't even do it. And you see it a whole room of everyone's on their phones. I'm like, I'm not on my phone. Like,
it is a nice way to like get out of a conversation, or like you walk by someone and you like don't want to see just like stare at it.
yeah, and it reminds me of like an old picture from the 40s or 30s of on a bus, or yeah, I think it was a bus or a diner or something. All the dudes, everyone's holding a newspaper in front of their face. Every single person in the room was reading the newspaper. They happened to be reading the exact same newspaper, reading the same information, whatever the information might be, and it just goes to show that people like to avoid conversation.
Yes,
for the ages.
We're always trying to find ways to get away from each other.
Yeah.
We want to communicate. We don't have to be close to each other.
So yeah, that's the point of the podcast. I don't know if you call it a podcast interview. I mean, what's the podcast? The podcast is, what technically is a podcast? It's like,
I think it's a good classified. It's like free form, long conversation, just about whatever.
yeah.
It doesn't necessarily think it has to be one thing.
But yeah, so here we are, our trusty viewers. We've probably got like 6 now.
Oh shit.
And I'm kind of digging so that Gary Vee guy had sent you.
Mm-hmm.
So his whole deal is all about that one video. Like anyway, his up and coming story. His earliest videos used to be like, work, motherfucker, work. He's always like, workaholic. No one's worked more than me. I've missed all my 20s. Like he's a workaholic. He worked 20 hours straight for 20 years, which is good for him. And now he's rich because of it. So then he always
enjoys.
That's his motivation. That's how he kind of started. He never wanted to be a motivational speaker, but that's how he started. Like, work if you're not, kind of like David Goggins. I don't know if you heard about him.
Oh yeah.
It's the same kind of thing, but more tech business related. But Gary's cool because he's modified his thing. He's very specific into like social media, but it's business. He's like beyond the social media and how to get to business. Point is, he just says do it. You just gotta do it. Like,
yeah,
you can't be like thinking about perfection. Like this might not be perfect in some regard. I mean, we got a window here, but I got it blocked out pretty good. Lighting, sound, whatever. And that's why I love the idea of starting from zero instead of stressing on like, oh, getting views or whatever. Like, I don't even care.
Yeah,
like,
people spend too much time planning shit and preparing for it than actually just doing it.
And I don't even care. I'm just gonna like.
Well, it's kind of like how we were this year when we were coaching skiing. Because me and Jake, we coached little shits on the ski hill, and it's like at a certain point we could like we talk the kids through how to do it. You got to do this, you got to do that. But at a certain point, you just have to do it. You can stand there and talk about it all day long, but it won't do you any good until you just sack up and.
Well, it's so funny. There's another podcast I watch. It's these like. It's Trainer Road, and they're kind of dorky, super biker dudes, whatever. But they're all mountain bikers, and they're all overanalyzing. The one guy's really overanalyzing biking in the mud, like, oh, it's so hard. He's a road biker trying to learn to mountain bike as an adult, basically. Okay. And they're like overanalyzing all this stuff, but then their extreme end of their world would be, just send it, bro. To them that's insane. To just say, just send it. Don't think about it. Don't plan it. Like,
I know.
Where in the extreme skiing world, biking world, whatever, or I guess, I don't know what the world, it's flow sports, action sports,
action
these
sports.
Different
Extreme
things.
sports.
That's what that's about, is about the flow and just sending it and like getting in the rhythm. And anyway, it's kind of...
Just grab a pillow or something. I'm just getting busted right here. Oh, that's better. Much better.
So yeah, how's the couch working? That thing folds out.
I was getting like something was like poking me in the back here, but it's fine now.
I was first like it was sitting. It does normally sit this way. I was like, oh, we could just sit side by side. It's like a make-out couch, like awkward conversation.
Casting
side
couch.
by side. Yeah.
Jake's really trying me out for this co-host position here, you guys.
Reilly's job interview is how woke is Reilly? So I've got all these notes, and it doesn't say if being woke is good or not. There's a lot of woke zombies in the news. The woke zombie mob.
Because it's fucking trendy to be woke.
It's trendy.
People aren't really woke. They just want to be trendy and like. That's all it is. It's just about being trendy. Maybe they are.
Virtue signaling.
Virtue signaling. I can't tell you. Like, are you on Twitter? I hope you're not.
No.
Okay, good. You're not missing anything. I'm this fucking close to deleting it, but I am on it. And I can't tell you. So after the whole George Floyd thing, I mean, like everybody and their mother, like even our good friend we worked with, who is super conservative, who I'm not going to name, but you know who I'm talking about. Even he put hashtag Black Lives Matter in his like little Twitter bio there for a couple of weeks, and it was because that was the thing. There was all these protests. It was popular, justice and all that. And then now, I mean, nothing.
77 days later, of burning down America.
Half the people don't give a shit.
Antifa doesn't exist though, so who's doing it?
Antifa doesn't exist.
That's what they say. Then first they said Antifa didn't exist.
Who's they?
All the media. They're like, it doesn't, I mean, it's a myth. It doesn't exist. It's just a figment of Trump's imagination, whatever. And then, when it was obvious that you can't deny it, that they're like, we're Antifa, we're burning down a building.
Well, yeah.
Then they're saying, there was actually, it was 2 weeks ago or a week ago, there was multiple stories in the cycle that were like, it's Trump's controlling Antifa. Trump secretly wants Antifa to be doing this stuff. But, like, they just changed the story to, like, however make Trump look bad. First it didn't exist, and they assumed the population, with the population, I think a lot of people have just a crazy short attention span.
No, they do.
Short memory. They literally don't remember.
Well,
a day ago or a week ago.
Yeah, I don't know if that's so much. I mean, yes, we are stupid. We have short memory spans, but I also think like in today's day and age, you get so much new shit thrown at you all the time. It's like fucking coronavirus, and then there's this, and then kids in cages, and then there's police killing people, and then there's riots, and then, I mean, it's just like everything. It's all.
And Obama put all the kids in the cages. They didn't care. That's my point. It's like all of it. It's like such a, and then the fact that, I mean, now we're getting a media bias. The fact that people, it's like trying to explain wetness to a fish. You know, hey fish, you're wet, and the fish is like, what are you talking about? You know, because it's so surrounding, because it's such a surrounding, and everyone who's woke thinks they are the rebel free thinker, but meanwhile they're just repeating the mass media's,
just repeating
the established mass media thing.
Well, you're the opposite. You're the opposite of woke, because if you're actually woke, you would look at a situation and analyze it and form your own opinion based on what you saw. That, in my mind, is woke. When you're just and I'm gonna go over here and do this, and you're just, like you said, just going with the masses. You're taking the easy way out.
Like,
because, you know, people, like CNN shows a 45-second video of some cop punching some dude in the face.
Yeah.
Justice, police are bad, blah, blah, blah. And everyone just automatically says, oh, police are bad.
Yeah.
It's all that, gotta go for that. No one I think you're more woke if you were to actually, like, look at the situation and feel like, you know, why is this happening?
And watch the previous 30 seconds.
Watch the previous 30 seconds.
Throwing bags of fucking shit at the cop or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever it is.
And they don't care about
figure out what occurred to get to that 30-second clip that they're showing.
I would call it the narrative. There's a narrative.
There's a narrative to everything, and it seems to be Trump is bad, cops are racists, and the coronavirus is going to
That's the most recent version of the narrative. You know, Trump's been bad since day one.
Oh, I know for sure.
But now, he's racist. Cops are racist. Whatever. The defund the police and all these things.
Yeah, but before Trump was just kind of. I mean, I thought the first 3 years, yeah, he's always been bad, I guess. But I mean, he was just like, you know, just kind of. Just like racist, people didn't like, just kind of nasty. Well, he's like, but now he's like the devil, or so people say.
Yeah,
like the devil.
Well, that's the interesting thing. People on the right will say that people on the left are just misguided and ignorant, maybe, or uninformed. Where people on the left think people on the right are evil.
Yeah,
that's the difference. I don't think anyone on the left. I don't think anyone's evil. Like, unless you're a serial killer, then you're actually.
Well, yeah, you're a serial killer,
but, like,
rapist,
politically
pedophile,
speaking,
yeah. I don't think
they're, you know.
Maybe unless you're like super racist or something, then yeah, but...
Yeah, but no one actually is though, that's the thing, like,
no,
the number of KKK in America, not very many. And all of them, then they wonder like, why don't they unmask them? Oh, they're all Democrats anyway. Oh, it was started by Democrats anyway. Everything, so my general theory I've come to in the last couple of weeks, based on 4 years of obsessively following politics, is every single thing, and use this lens, and to the audience, I don't know if I can even, if I'm even on there anymore. Should take a look at this. I can edit this out. I don't like this at all. There we go. That's better. So to the audience, I don't ever think I'm right. Don't ever think I'm trying to like say I'm right, but I just try to show why an argument might be wrong.
And people poke holes in it.
Poke holes in it. And if you could just repeatedly poke holes in these arguments over and over and over and over again, you think people would be like, "Durr, like maybe I'm not right," you know? Exactly. Like I had a friend, I'll tell you about, I won't say their name, on Facebook a couple weeks ago, who like made this long, just impassioned call to like befriend the worst racist people and understand them all and blah 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 blah, and like in their defense, it was they had good intentions, and you had to say the saying the road to hell's paved with good intentions. And I'm like reading, I'm like, oh god, like there's so many instances, like I'm getting off my high horse. But you know, very pretentious, smug high horse argument, thinking that's basically Trump supporters or whatever. And I'm not saying I'm a Trump supporter. That's the whole thing. Like if you rip them apart, they assume you're a Trump supporter.
Yeah. I'm
not. Like I almost have to, in the end, I'm gonna have to vote for Trump because the left has proven themselves so insane, and there's nothing to offer over there, which is where the silent majority is going.
100%.
Anyway, and I get in there and I was like, yeah, I could probably dismantle your woke BS. Bullshit intersectional religion in 3 minutes, you know? That's what I said. And she like unfriended me and hates me now. you know, argue. She's like, oh, we can't talk about this in public. I'm like, well, you started a conversation in public.
On Facebook.
On Facebook with public. Getting all these
as
accolades.
fucking public as it gets.
Yeah, getting all these accolades for like being so strong and proud, and then you crumble under like you triggered me into like how I was triggered by you saying that you could dismantle my argument in 3 minutes. I'm like, yeah, that's not. Don't take it personal. You're still a nice person. Like they confuse their personality and their identity with their ideas.
You're not allowed to like disagree with it. If you disagree, you're bad. Like
yeah,
I don't.
You might as well be a Nazi.
Yeah, literally.
Speaking of which, so I've got some.
Speaking of Nazis.
So I dug through. I've been digging through Facebook and I pulled memes out. I won't say who they're from. So I've quit Facebook in terms of
posting on it,
arguing meanly with people because they think I'm mean. Part of why I'm starting this podcast to show, hey, I'm a nice guy, because I am. I think
he is. No, he's a nice guy. I've known Jake a long time. He's a very nice guy.
So, anyway, there's so many things that come through it, and I know Facebook is generally a squawky liberal echo chamber that they don't like realize.
It's
and
exactly.
They just like they come back and forth.
It's like the fucking.
It's like living inside a ping pong ball, maybe.
It's like the Nemo movie. Just mine. Everyone just.
Yeah. So anyway, I have been pulling these memes, and so there's so many things that come through, and I want to respond to so many, but I don't because I can't. I like it's time consuming.
I don't think it's good for your mental health either.
To like this as you do that. Tell us podcast is really going places. Year 2000. I know, but you have to vote against Bush. Maybe next election we can have real change. 2004. I know, but you have to vote against Bush because maybe next election we have real change. 2008. I know, but you have to vote against McCain. Maybe next election we can have real change. 2012. I know, but you have to vote against Romney. Maybe next election we have real change. 2016. I know, but you have to vote against Trump. Maybe next election we have real change. 2020. I know, but you have to vote against Trump. Maybe next election we have real change. I mean, real change from what? That was the thing. Obama was in. We had a black president for 8 years.
And he couldn't get it done.
I thought he was, and I didn't dislike him. That's
I kind of liked Obama. Wow, Jesus.
I didn't dislike him. Like, that was back right when he got elected. I was aware because Bush 2, everyone hated him for so long. Iraq, da 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 da. The second Obama got in, he kept doing all the same things Bush was doing, but then the media loved him. Right? That was the difference. That's why I was like, wait a minute, he's doing the exact same things, and he like upped the ante in Afghanistan. He sent people to Libya, this and that.
Drone strikes and all that shit.
And the media loved him. We weren't. How could you raise this country? So then we had a black president.
I know.
And then 3 years later, he was president 3 years ago. All of a sudden, we're the most racist country of all time. How's that work?
And it's not like I don't know why people have this illusion that like we're gonna get Joe and Kamala and then it's all just gonna change. I mean, like Obama tried. He really. I mean, whether you agreed with him or disagreed with him, the dude did try. He tried with the Medicaid thing. He tried with the gun thing or whatever. You can have your opinions on that, but the man did try, and he couldn't get shit done. So I don't know why they're thinking that Joe
something will ever not change. I mean, the point of this meme is saying, it's never gonna change. Well, it's been changing all the time. It's always changed. Like, dude. Like, and they're acting like there's some huge overall system that's like, never gonna change, it's never gonna crumble. Well, it is. Evolving. Evolving. Social media is evolving it more than anything.
I know.
Like, society is falling apart right now for good and bad reasons.
This is where the Democrats, or just the left side, they fucked up. Because this was like their year, man. This was their year to get somebody great. To get someone that could, like, please the masses, someone awesome. I don't know who the fuck it could be, but that was the year, and we have Joe.
Yeah.
Well, it's a repeat of the Hillary-Trump thing of 2016. It's like...
Well, and that's just the icing on the cake of, they really showed their hand. These are notes of, Trump. Trump got in. You can see the day he got elected, and again, I have to always make the disclaimer that I'm not a Trump-tard or a mouth breather or whatever, because by just being critical of the Democrats or liberal, whatever, you're all of a sudden like...
Yeah, then you're pro-Trump.
Anyway, day one... I remember I was at work, and they're like, Trump got elected. And these dudes were at work, and they're like, started kicking and throwing things. They're so mad. They were so mad Trump got elected. By day one, they already knew they were mad, because they'd already been told. I remember watching the election night, and how all of the media personalities were so sad. They actually were like, wah. Like, oh my God, I'm so sad. It was palpable sadness. It shouldn't be. It should be unbiased, just like the president. Who's the president now? Which is the difference of, like, Fox, at least, they're coming from the right, and they know it, and they say it, and they're proud about it. Where the the MSN, CNN, NBC, BBC.
They don't come out and say it.
They don't come out and say it. They never say it, but they act like it's truth. Well, they act like it's truth. They spit it, and they are the prevailing social dominating. Trump or Fox's is a little tiny bit of it. And everyone acts like Fox is like the end all be it, like it's ruining the world. It's like they get this little viewership compared to everything else. And if you look at America, Democrat, left, right, it's just, you know, there's the R's and the D's. In America, the rest of the world is basically D, left, totalitarian, world control, more authoritarian around the world. So the R's are basically the final little like stronghold of like freedom.
Freedom. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
And then here's another point, is that they traded sides. Remember, I'm not talking about the people, there's this myth of like Democrats were all switch sides back in the 60s or something. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how the hippies used to be, it was like the evil, used to be, the authoritarian used to come from the church. You know, the Republican church,
yeah, that
big money, big machine complex, whatever, angry white men, or so stuffy, whatever, and that was true, it existed. The hippies came in like, oh, fuck you, man, we're doing our thing, da, da, da. They came in, then it was like usurped and corporatized, and it became what it is today, which is now, it's switched sides. Now to be like conservative or just non-liberal, this is the new rebel, like...
Yeah, like, yeah.
You gotta be new. This is like the new rebel to like stand up.
Like fly the Trump flag.
Yeah,
you see the dude in the truck flying the Trump flag. Like,
yeah, like,
when the fuck did people start flying flags for presidential candidates? Like I was too young. Did people?
It's tasty. It's weird. Isn't it? It's not going very fast.
It's because it's got a bunch of oil and shit. You want
to stop it?
Take a breather. I'm fine with that.
Which reminds me, okay, how's Trump so racist? And they're always like, Charlottesville, he said there's fine people on both sides. Well, did you know that was completely taken out of context?
Yeah, that one was, I know.
And how he is actually talking about the multiple demonstrators, and they take the one sentence. It reminds me, do you ever remember Sarah Palin? Everyone hated her. Even though she was like a strong, independent woman, you'd think, and that's the thing about the left, as soon as you have a minority group, you know, an oppressed group, a woman, black person, transgender black person, woman, they're more oppressed, and if they happen to be conservative, they're double evil.
Yeah.
And anyway, Palin, what was the deal? Everyone said they made fun of her because she's like, I can see Russia from my house. That was an SNL skit. Saturday Night Live skit.
It's a fucking joke.
It was a joke off Saturday Night Live, and it got repeated ad nauseum until everyone was like, she's so stupid. And on the second hand, her point, if it was even her, was more rhetorical because little Diomede and big Diomede are right here, side by side. And if you're in Alaska, technically, it was like wrong on so many levels. Anyway, let's find another meme.
Find another meme.
I think it's going great.
Do you think you'll end up voting for Trump?
I've honestly never voted.
What?
Only because I never thought someone was going to come goose... I always use the example, if someone's going to come goose-stepping down the street, I probably want to vote. Mm-hmm. You know, and it's never affected me. Well, here we are. The woke mob might come rolling down the street and bang down our door at the chicken coop and try to kill us. So I probably should vote.
Probably.
I mean, everyone's talking about these lessers of evils, and anyway.
I feel like in order to talk shit, you have to vote. Because then you have to say it.
Okay, this one's a different tone.
Was it just words?
It's words. I'll just read it. Yeah, there's not much to see. Okay, someone says, my wife has cancer. It took 5 months to wipe out 20 years of life savings, and that was with insurance. The experience was turned me into a hateful, bitter person. We did everything we were told. We went to college, got degrees, avoided credit card debt, spent wisely, saved a nice chunk of money in savings accounts and retirement accounts, and minded our own business. The USA healthcare system took all of our savings and retirement and forced us to refinance our house. We lost 15 years of equity. This is a country I'm supposed to be proud of. I hate this system and anyone who defends it. I mean, I feel her sadness.
I mean, I do. I mean,
and I agree.
I mean, yeah, no, I do not believe that you should not... I don't think anyone should be bankrupt because, you know, they get fucking cancer, you have a heart attack or something like that. Like, people lose their livelihoods because, you know, they have just, like, crazy medical emergencies. I do think that's wrong.
Well, and it's funny because the system, for the poor people, they're set up, you know, if you're poor enough, you can get health care. If you make X amount of dollars, it costs this much. It's like the sliding scale. The more you make, the more it costs. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember years ago I was working at a company and it was going to come out to be like $400 a week. I was making like $1,600. It was 25% was like healthcare costs, which seemed expensive. And previously, when I was living in Canada, my wife's Canadian. I lived in Canada for 7 years. Actually, I ran to Canada. Just a little backstory disclaimer. Not really disclaimer. I fled America in a paranoid fit because of the Abu Ghraib prison scandal, and I was like, oh my god, Bush is evil, America's evil, Republicans are evil. I never knew it, and like I had a complete nervous breakdown actually. Ran to Canada, avoiding an imaginary military draft, and lived there for 7 years. Ended up acquiring healthcare, and it was great. Cost $100 a month. $100 a month, no deductible.
That was it.
That was it.
And so
no questions asked, nothing. Everything.
So you break your arm, you just walk into a hospital, they fix it.
Yeah, there was slow. You know, there's obviously a triage of emergency, and that's the biggest complaint. Is it's slow, or if I blow my knee out, it's going to take 6 months to do it. You know, it's $40,000. That's why people, you know, the defense of America is like, oh, it's America's superior. You just get it done. Yeah, it costs $40,000.
Yeah.
Where so there's the pros and cons of it, and yes, it's true. Everyone in the world has managed to figure out this healthcare thing, except America. Like literally everyone.
I know.
There's like 3 countries in the world. That's a meme I saw. Don't have healthcare. And America's one of them.
Yeah, I do feel like we need to get our shit. I mean, the system is fucking broken for sure. I'm not entirely sure how they fucking fix it.
Yeah.
And certainly it's not the left woke. Their bullshit. That's
the zombies. I think the zombies are gonna do it. Remember the zombies were vandalizing and trying to break into the children's hospital in Houston? And about what was it, 50 days ago? You know, early in the riots.
Shit, no, I
know. There's video of everything. That's the thing. Like, the mass media showing the peaceful protest, the people sitting on the street. They're not showing, like, everyone, like, crushing through, breaking the actual riots.
Well, dude, I was so funny. I was can't talk. Was watching Joe Rogan's podcast, and he had Ben Shapiro on there, and I'm not...
The recent one?
Yeah, the recent one.
Yeah,
and I'm not a huge Ben Shapiro fan. But his point that he made there, he was like, he thinks that when the media refers to them as mostly peaceful protesters, like, he just thinks it's funny. It's like, you know, if I have a mostly peaceful day, but at the end, like, you know, from 9 in the morning when I wake up till 10 o'clock at night, I'm a fucking angel. But then I beat the shit out of my wife and go get drunk and drive a car and run over a family the last hour of my day, but then I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Maybe you're just a bad apple.
But you don't want to say that. Well, you can't say that. You can't. Oh, maybe just a bad apple. You can't say that.
Well, and it's never your fault. If you did do that, it would be because the system failed you. So
well, actually not me, because I'm a white guy, so I'm just a piece of shit now if I do anything wrong.
Well, the system will still fail you. I had a conversation with a friend a couple years ago. He was hardcore Bernie bro, hardcore, and I remember having a conversation talking about woke and how basically the woke intersectional cult is the most racist totalitarian thing that's coming down the pipe. I don't know if you know what the intersectional definition is. Do you know what that is?
No.
Well,
enlighten me.
It's just I'm a white man. I'm a white woman. White woman is more oppressed by white man. Therefore, if these two people have a conversation, you'll take her word for it more than his because he's the oppressive. And then it breaks down to black woman, black trans woman, black trans woman who's missing a leg.
I got you.
It basically is just picking apart the individualness of everyone, and the end result is the individual, which is ironic because they're like trying to come around to like that's the basis of it. It's just picking apart everyone's identity. It's identity politics run amok, where everything you're doing is based on your identity. Therefore, it's not your merits; it's your identity, which is ridiculous. And why did I start saying that? I don't remember.
Shit, I don't know, man. We kind of took.
Okay, new meme.
Yeah, new meme.
Americans in 19. I'll show you this picture. 19. You read that.
Facing almost certain.
And then this one. I'll show the camera up close.
So where do you stand on the whole COVID-19 thing? Like what is your?
Well, let me read this real quick. Americans in 1944 facing almost death. Shows some guys jumping off the D-Day, jumping ashore, about to get shot. Then it shows Americans 2020 facing a 99.9% survival rate. And the guy's cowering with his mask on. He's so scared and sad. What do I think about COVID? It's multiple takes. I think it's real. I don't think it. I guess. Edit note that we switched cameras. We're new at this. We don't know what we're doing. We just come here and rant about things we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah. No, we don't. We don't know anything. I don't read. I just looked up some shit on the internet before I came here. Smoked a bowl. Wrote some shit down.
So we don't know where the camera died off, but we're gonna kind of pick up where we think it was. We were leading into Kamala Harris.
It's just that she is. Just like I said before, the antithesis of Black Lives Matter. And here's the thing that drives me crazy about this new woke left, and I think it drives a lot of, you and me, which we're kind of the silent majority. Or at least, I don't know, maybe not. But you look at people like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris throughout the course of their career. They've always flip-flop. They're what the woke like. They go with what's trendy and what's popular.
Yes.
Like Kamala Harris in the early 2000s, marijuana's bad, jail for marijuana. And it wasn't until like 2016, it was like, oh, marijuana's great, expunge everyone's records, it's all fine.
Yeah.
Same thing with Joe Biden. Dude, back in the 80s, he was like anti-LGBTQ. Like he was championing for being able to discriminate against transgender and homosexual people in the workplace. Like he was like going against bills that would make it illegal to do that.
Yeah.
So they just go with what's trendy. Look at Trump throughout the course of his career. He's always been Trump.
Yeah.
I don't like him,
Yeah.
but he's been saying Obama was born in fucking Kenya since like the early 2000s or whatever. He's never changed it, even though there's tons of evidence that says otherwise. Now, that's a silly thing, but you know what I'm saying. Trump has always been Trump. He's always been conservative, eccentric, billionaire, whatever the fuck, and he's always had his views, and they don't change. And I think that's one of the things that I think is kind of attractive to a lot of people about the right or the Republicans is they seem to kind of stick with, they have their values, they have their stuff, be it church or guns or whatever the fuck it is, and their views, by nature, or by taking the name, conservative, they don't really change much. And I think people don't like the flip-floppiness of the left, that they just go with whatever's trendy.
Well, and it reminds me of the, yeah, I know, because politics becomes philosophy, but the politics emerge out of people's, personalities, But I think of, say a liberal and a conservative walking through the forest. They come across a fence. They're like, what should we do with this fence? We don't know what the fence is. We don't know what's on the other side of the fence. Where the conservative guy's like, well, the fence is here. We probably shouldn't go over the fence. We don't know what's over there. Where the liberals be like, tear down the fence. Like, we don't want a fence. There might be a tiger on the other side that's going to eat you, but it doesn't matter. And that's kind of what you're saying, basically, is which is true. It's like they chase, they just chase what they think they can get for votes, how long it works for them. Like, defund the police, and then they're going to turn around and be like, fund the police, and they're going to blame Trump. They're going to somehow blame Trump when they turn around and decide to fund the police.
Their cities are burning, and the property values go down, and crime goes up, and homelessness goes up.
They're going to blame Trump. Meanwhile, Trump has been not begging, he's been saying, hey, I've got people to send to you to use for your use. You can control them to control the people.
Well, honestly, I don't agree with a lot of shit that Trump does, but I do actually. I agree with him sending this quote-unquote stormtroopers or whatever to these cities, because it was fucking chaos. You literally had people fucking lighting Molotov cocktails, burning shit in the street.
A federal courthouse.
And they were getting arrested, and the local prosecutors were just letting them go. The cops would arrest them. Andy...
No.
Yeah, he was posting on his fucking Twitter. There was literally people that had been arrested 6, 7, 8 times. And not just for, being out past curfew. It's
for, busting shit. And
property damage, assault on a police officer, crazy shit,
Yeah.
And they're just getting spit back out.
Well, and then Trump sent federal officers to protect a federal building as per constitutional authority. He didn't send the stormtroopers to start arresting people, because then they start talking about, the unmarked police. There's a classic picture, there's a meme, unmarked officers were arresting people for no reasons. In the picture, the guy's got a name and badge number on the side of his shoulder. And they're not just picking random people and taking away the gulag. They're people that they watched throw a brick through a building. They waited until they walked around the corner. Then they arrested them or picked them up for questioning without escalating the situation. Because if they go charging out there to arrest the dude, they're going to escalate the situation, which is... So Trump keeps these to Chicago, to Portland, to Seattle.
Well, I know.
He's here's people, and they're like, no, we don't want your people. We don't want your stormtroopers. We've got it fine. Meanwhile, it's not fine.
No, it's not fucking fine. My fucking aunt and my cousins, they all live in Seattle there. And they're kind of liberal city people. My aunt has not been to downtown Seattle in months. Because it's a shithole. You don't want to go there anymore. It's sketchy.
Yeah. But we're the crazy people. That's the funny part. Let's look at a new meme. That thing will do 20 minutes and then it shuts off. No, it breaks into 20-minute chunks on its own. That's what it does. This last couple of weeks I've been really just trying to get my technology up to snuff. Oh my god. This is a quick... Where are we at? Let's find... What's this one?
The left.
Oh, this is kind of back on COVID. This is a picture. Isn't that our dang mayor?
Oh yeah, that's Berkowitz.
His friend Jeremy posted a dick pic. Berkowitz. So this would be from a conservative person. So Berkowitz has been shutting stuff down.
The biggest fucking problem with that, I think, is the people at the health department and Berkowitz. I don't know how the fuck this keeps going on. The people at the health department and Berkowitz, they get a fucking paycheck throughout this whole thing. Their lifestyle never has to change. because they're getting paid. Meanwhile, you know, it's easy for Berkowitz to say, just shut the bars down, stop going to bars, what the fuck? Like, just people stop going out. Alright, well, that's easy for you to say because you still get a check every month, or what, I don't know how the fuck they get paid, but he gets a salary, and he gets to go home every night. Meanwhile, you got business owners that are freaking out and are worried that they're not going to be able to make fucking payroll for the week to pay all their employees, and they want to defy that order, not because they don't care about COVID or they don't care about people's health, because they try to keep their businesses afloat and keep paying their employees, and you vilify them. And it's so easy for someone like Berkowitz to sit there and just be like, you know, hey, businesses need to shut down. I don't understand why this is a problem. Well, it's easy for you to
There's a lady, I think I saw it on Tim Pool, it was in California actually, everything shut down, this was like a month ago. She has a company, she has a store, yes, she has a storefront that sells clothes or something. She was doing an online clothing demonstration, selling clothing online in her store as a, next time I'm doing weird things, selling shit. No one's in the store except her, on the camera, selling stuff. Someone saw it, came there, and they sent the police to shut her down. They're like, you can't be operating right now. She's like, no one's in my store. I'm just talking to the internet, which is no different than talking to your right now. Like,
yeah.
And then it reminds me. So remember the protest, the original protests for the lockdown. Remember how bad those people were?
Oh yeah.
They're like, they're so bad, evil. They were evil. Like the people were like, we want to go to work. We think COVID's fucked up. In truth, half of them thought it was a hoax. It was made up. Whatever. And to their whatever, they were peacefully protesting. People cite the Michigan one. I went and looked it up, where the Michigan, like, because someone like, in the Michigan riots, they were in the mayor's house with guns, and no one did, you know, they were at the state house or whatever, with guns on the porch. They were yelling about wanting to go to work, but they were not breaking anything. Nothing was happening. Like, also the Tea Party, when they go do their things, they actually clean cities as they leave them. They're like, let's clean the town before.
Well, and Michigan's an open carry state. Like, they technically, you can think what you want. Technically, none of those people broke any type of law.
Yes, and then there was one scuffle that broke out, and then someone had a noose, an effigy of a person, the mayor or something. That's rude, but it's not like violent. It's a rude, racist thing from someone to do it. And it might not be racist, just because the person that they're arguing is black doesn't make it racist. You just don't like them. Point being, you remember that, how bad they were. Then, the riots started. And then it's like, we're allowed to go riot. We're allowed to riot. Like, 10,000 people could be in the streets doing whatever.
And no one said boo about that.
Yeah, they were, because they said racism was a worse disease, and it was more worrisome about stamping out racism than COVID, which completely contradicted the previous 3 months of COVID scare tactics. It doesn't make sense. It literally is insanity.
It's utter and complete insanity.
And people follow it. But we're the insane people. If you say that, they're like, now they're saying, there's studies have come out that said the riots didn't really cause anything. It doesn't matter. Like, there's 10,000 people in the streets. A, in close proximity, when you were told not to go out in the streets. B, they're burning buildings down and breaking glass out and smashing cop cars. Like, you see all the Utah? Remember, like, the Utah car?
Oh, yeah, bro.
Like, that's hardcore violence.
I love that shit doesn't happen up here.
Yeah.
Because you get fucking shot if you do that.
Yeah, like the statue I was telling about here, it's racist. Someone should go tear it down. I don't know. I'm not condoning someone to tear it down. I'm surprised they haven't.
See, you can't get away with shit. Like, you'd get shot for doing that up here.
I want to see someone try to tow the Statue of Liberty over with a tugboat.
Why do you want to see that?
I don't, actually. Good, you got me. Damn it.
What do you mean?
I'm a secret woke. I'm undercover woke.
Undercover woke.
That's the thing here, people. We're actually not conservative mouth breathers. We're actually undercover woke
Undercover
specialists.
wokes.
So that's the whole thing about arguing, though. You have to know both arguments. So if I'm picking a fight with someone, I already know 3 steps down the way what they're going to say. A, because I read a shitload. B, because I used to be hardcore left idiot. Back when I fled off to Canada, like, George Bush is evil. And I believed everything, and then in Canada I was like, I don't know if that was the smartest decision. And I just started researching, reading, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I was a fucking idiot. Like, yeah, you know. Anyway, we're ranting. How long? We've been ranting for like an hour straight. I think the podcast has launched off to a...
I think this is a good start.
Fiery start. So I don't know what what's our next move? Do we bring a third person? So that's my thought. Originally I was like, okay, I'll just bring random people in. Which could be fun.
Do you want to make this like a show? Like a weekly?
Well, I'm thinking like weekly as I rotate through my various things. Like, yeah, weekly, basically. Of like... But I think it would be great to have a third person, like a different third person. Would they be overwhelmed? Like, I don't know if we can carry it forever just on our own.
No, we'll definitely have to bring other people or something in, but
Yeah. So it's unknown. This is experimental.
this is.
But I only covered half these talking points anyway.
Oh, I know, there's so much.
But I don't know, what are you gonna do? What are you
I
doing?
don't know. I just want to make a point that when I was trying to figure out fucking topics, just trying to find stuff to talk about with you, the thing that drives me crazy is how all news, it's hard to just get actual facts. Like, it's so difficult, like you just said, you know, you should have both sides of the argument. It's so fucking hard to find just nothing but facts, like both sides of the argument. On any topic, everything is so slighted and everything's biased and everyone has a fucking agenda. They're all guilty of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult.
Well, and that's the online media 24-hour cycle, is each of these media outlets has, like, a bias.
What
You know,
took
if I read
everything?
Vox or I read Vice, I read CNN, I read Rolling Stone, if I read that, you know, you kind of know, at least I know where they're coming from.
Exactly.
But a lot of people don't. They read Rolling Stone or they read Vice and they think it's the ultimate, like, this is a real, true, gritty source. Or they goddamn Adbusters or something, which is insane. Like,
I know.
reminds me of back to all the Democrats, woke people being racist. I had a friend. I was actually going to start telling the story and I got distracted an hour ago. I was like, alright, imagine a NASCAR driving, or NASCAR fan, donut drinking, beer eating, whatever, down in Alabama, goes to church. Like, think how stupid they are, right? And he's like, yeah, so stupid. Like, I'm like, alright, now, you know, I'm like, they're stupid because they believe in this imaginary thing, right? Like, yeah, they're so stupid. Like, I'm like, yeah, now imagine Mormons, they're stupid too, right? And he's like, yeah, they're the worst. Like, he starts ranting, you know, I'm like, I was trolling him, because I was like setting him up, and I was like, okay, what about those Muslims? They're pretty dumb too, right? And he's like, brrr, like, no, they're not dumb. I'm like, wait, why not? Their shit's just as made up and wacky as these other ones. Like, what's the problem with them? And his excuse, his reasoning was that because they were Muslims or Islam or whatever, even though they controlled half the fucking world 1,000 years ago. Don't get me right on this history. Not 1,000 years ago.
Don't fact check our history. They used to run shit.
The year 624, not 1,400 years ago. 624 was when the Quran was written. So 1,400 years ago.
Are you sure about that?
They ruled a bunch of stuff. My point was that because they were oppressed by the white evil Christians in the Crusades, they always use the Crusades as an example, is that they, as a group, needed their religion as like a crutch because they were so fucked over by us.
Yeah.
That was his excuse. I'm like, wait a minute. So you're basically rationalizing that they are dumb and uneducated enough that they need a religion as a crutch to get through their horrible, horrible lives because we fucked them over so hard. He's like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, that's racist. That's racism.
It is.
It's not even a race. Islam's not a race. He didn't know that either, actually. I'm like, that's more of a religious critique. Like,
stereotype.
Yeah, religious stereotype. And you're like, okay, because then you start breaking down into like, oh, wait, how many Islam folks pulled out slaves out of Africa? How many North Americans had slaves with each other? Actually, I looked up a couple weeks ago. I was like curious. I was like, oh, warfare in pre-Columbus America. I actually Googled that. Warfare, and there's a scientific paper that came up talking about the Iroquois and how they did war. And basically, there'd be in a war, they've taken slaves. Slaves were just normal. It's normalized around the world.
Well, yeah, that's
millions of years, slavery's been normal.
Dude, slavery was normal, and when you won a war, you
took slaves
and raped and pillaged all the women
and fucked up the people. So basically, what they would do, get this, internet,
learn you some shit.
They
today.
would capture someone. If it was a brave warrior, then they would just slowly start torturing them and fucking with them. And if the dude was like all proud and being strong, as he's getting tortured and not crying out in pain, they'd keep doing it more and more, fucking him more and more and more until, you know. And if he's proven himself that he's so strong he's not crying out, they would start eating him piece by piece because he's so strong. They wanted to take on his power because they'd be literally like cutting off a foot, putting on the fire, eating it, pulling out an entrail, eating it, and then the guy's like, brr, getting fucked up, eaten alive. That's insane.
People have always been fucked up. But we all always have. We're all fucked up. We're all stupid. We all believe in our crazy, wacky shit. I mean, Muslims believing what they believe isn't any more wacky than Mormons, and it's not any more wacky than you liking to go fucking run up mountains for fun or strapping skis to our feet and skiing down hills like to a normal person. That's like we're all fucking weird. We all have our things, and we're all pretty fucked up.
Interesting note on Muslims, Mormons. It's actually a direct comparison. Joe Smith Muhammad went into a cave talked to an angel, came out and wrote a book, because he was trying to copy the people of the book. The Jews had the Old Testament, and they were like running shit because they had an organized thought structure with economics and trade routes and da-da-da-da. He's like, I'm going to start a book too. So he went and had an imaginary conversation in a cave, came out with the book, created the thing. Interesting note. Wow, we're getting into... Should I say Palestine and Israel for next episode?
Shit, I don't know. Yeah, we might. That could be like hours and
I
hours.
could start with that.
Start with the next.
What was my point, though? I was getting to, because that's how it goes. You're just like making a point. Oh, how it's exactly the same. Joseph Smith went into a cave and had the angel talk to the angel Moroni and came out and like wrote a book. And actually read the Bible, the Quran, and Book of Mormon about 10 years ago.
You read all of them?
Yeah, like back to back or chapter for chapter. I just switched through them. The Bible was interesting because it's 1,500 books written by 77 people or 66 people. 66 different people wrote it over a 1,000-year period or whatever the time frame is. Where the Book of Quran is one dude wrote it one time. Joe and the Mormon is one day.
Wrote the Book of Mormon.
Book of Mormon felt like it was an eighth grader wrote it. Was my vibe, and you're like, this is pretty dumb. The Quran felt like I was reading. It felt evil. Actually, it was bad. Every other sentence, not to say evil, because you say evil, and they're like, oh, you must be a religious nut. It's like, well, every other sentence was kill the infidels, kill their babies, eat the pigs. They're pigs. Eat in every single sentence. And you're like, but then their critique of your critique of them. If I say that's fucked up, they're like, oh no. You didn't that's not a proper translation. You can only really understand it if you know Arabic, or like Arabic, because since you don't know Arabic, it wasn't translated properly. Therefore, you're misinterpreting through translation. It's like dumb shit. It's like I'm sure I could get Siri to translate it for me. Like at this point, we know what the language is, and then that's their excuse. It's funny we don't even talk about Islam anymore. In general, media no one talks about it. Did terrorism stop? Question in the comments below. And if you like so far what you've seen, hit the subscribe button and the like button.
Exactly, like that shit up.
Do terrorism even exist anymore?
And
contrary, do the neocons exist anymore? Remember neocons? They might be before your time. The neocons were like George Bush, Cheney, Rumsfeld, who were evilly trying to go around.
Order or whatever.
Yeah, we're trying to like do all these things, which kind of leads into today's conspiracy that they were part of the order, and the Clintons are part of the order, but then Trump's the like loner who's not part of the order, so it could be true. But they were called the neocons, and they're the worst ever.
Oh, here, this is a good like a little shorter topic. Did Jeffrey Epstein kill himself?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely not.
Probably not.
Of course the fuck he didn't. Of course he didn't.
Didn't they release the list of people? Well, I saw that. Well, they got Ghislaine.
Oh, the list of like his cohorts or whatever. Oh yeah, I know they're all getting in fucking trouble now.
Mm-hmm.
Have you watched that documentary?
Uh-oh.
It's pretty fucking wild. So when he got arrested the first time, when he had all this crazy, basically the human sex trafficking charges that were being brought against him, so he ended up getting charged with solicitation of a minor for sex or something like that. So he got 1 year in prison for it. Year in prison. This motherfucker, he was on 6 days a week. He got 12-hour work release. So he got to leave the prison. He got to leave at 8 o'clock in the morning. He had to check back in at 8 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. At night, dude, they like left his cell open and shit. He had like a TV and a bed. Like he had it all hooked up. And then when he got out of jail, dude, like he was like breaking his parole, doing all this shit he wasn't supposed to do, and he was fine. Like this dude got away with murder. This dude got away with everything, and everyone knew who he was about that. So you're telling me that the jail like forgot to turn the cameras on in his cell the night he supposedly killed himself?
Yeah. Well, you know where they say he got all his money, that he was Israeli Mossad, secret intelligence.
Really?
That's why he had so much money, because no one knows what his job is. No one knows why he made money.
Yeah, no one knows.
So that's the theory, is that Israeli Mossad, he's a hiree, or whatever, to get blackmailing people on everyone. It's just a serious setup in all regards, and it backfired, and they fucking took him out. Which makes sense.
I don't know, man. It's the whole fucking Me Too movement, all that. I'm not anti-Me Too movement. Let me put that shit out there right now. I'm not anti-Me. But the problem with any fucking movement nowadays that it seems the left starts, they all start good. You know, like the Me Too movement. It started with
Harvey Weinstein and Louis C.K. like jacking off on girls and making them suck their dicks to get ahead in their... Yeah, horrible shit. That's like, yeah, those people are piece of shit, call them out. And then it turned into now every man that looks at another woman's ass, if he's married, like, he's a horrible period, like, fire him, cancel everyone. Same thing with the fucking George Floyd thing. Like,
everyone's racist now.
Well, yeah, but it's like, you know, people... No one defended the George Floyd thing. Everyone was outraged by it. Like, everyone. I mean, you saw the George... That was bad. That was awful what that cop did. That cop was terrible. He should be in jail. All that.
Yeah.
And it started with a really good cause. Like, people were outraged about some bad shit that happened. And then it's just gotten so fucking ridiculous. It's like fucking 100 days later now, we're still like, we have zones of cities that are taken over.
Well, I think it's secondary out of the COVID lockdown. Everyone's on lockdown, which no one's taking responsibility for. Mostly Democrats are pushing the lockdown. Trump's trying to lock, you know, it's been politicized. So it's on lockdown. People are poor and getting hungry or whatever.
And they're stuck inside.
And they're fucking pissed. And then they go riot. And they're trying to blame it all on Trump and racism. Meanwhile, they've been on lockdown. They ignored that.
Oh, no, dude. The George Floyd thing, well, honestly, like, I feel like the whole Trump presidency, we've just been, like, soaking the world in just, like, kerosene. And the George Floyd thing was just, like, that final fucking spark to blow everything up.
So, election thoughts. Well, that's my prediction. Say Biden gets elected, COVID's going to disappear. That's what I think.
Are you going to vote for Trump?
I don't know. If COVID will disappear if Biden gets in.
Is that what you think? You think it just, like, we'll wake up?
The media won't talk about it. It'll be there, but they'll be like, man, we don't really talk about this anymore. So it'll probably still be there. I won't say it will disappear, but it'll no longer...
But
instead of Trump bungling every response, it'll be Biden is heroically fixing it, and somehow by miracles they'll start tweaking, they'll stop tweaking the numbers, be like, so many things. They'll just tweak it the other way, or they won't report it.
It'll just be like
that's just a prediction.
Influenza.
That's a prediction if that happens. If Trump gets in, they're going to fucking double down on the riots. They're already talking yesterday. I was listening, Tim Pool, you should listen to him. He's good.
I've heard some of him.
Like, anyway, they're talking about how Antifa, or Adbusters has promised the 50-day protest. We're going to riot for 50 days until the election. Which reminds me back to the White House. Remember the White House when they're riding around the White House, burning down the guardhouse. Trump was inside. They made him go into the bunker. Like, he didn't want to. No, they made him go in there. Yeah. And at 11 o'clock at night, they turn off the lights. Anyway, there's a picture. It was a meme. It was like, this is the presidency. Like, he's a coward. They're calling him a coward as if he's just hiding in the bunker like a ninny. It's like, there's a bunch of yahoos blowing shit up in the thing. Like, this is exactly... Are you kidding me? And they totally rip on him. And then, meanwhile, they had burned down, like, half burned out St. John's Church, which is right there. It's like this famous church built in 1812 or something. He came out, that's when he came out for his photo op. And they're like, boo, photo op. He gassed everyone just to get a stupid photo op. I seriously saw that. Have you ever heard of the Star Spangled Banner? He came out and the flag was still there. That's what he was doing. He was coming out, showing the silent majority that, like, hey guys, I got this. The flag is still here. The church is still here. I still got the Bible. The Bible is kind of. It wasn't
the best to taste. Like, it probably wasn't the best thing to do at the time, all things considered. But
it might have been. But that was the point. Like, he was under siege by a woke mob. What's he supposed to do? Like, just keep cowering? Because whatever he would do, they would attack.
If
he sat in there all day,
he's a coward, and if he stands up to him, he's a Nazi.
He's a military dictator. Like, back to Pelosi, him sending the stormtroopers to the Portland courthouse. He's a military dictator. Yet, we can go on Facebook. I could sit here and be like, fuck Trump. They won't come here and kill us. No. Trump, military dictators would. In Mexico, they will. In any of these other countries, that's what they do. If we're like, boo, whatever, Putin, you suck.
Yeah, you get disappeared.
You disappear.
You get a black van pulls up and you've never heard
like
from
people
again.
don't know how good they got it. They're entitled. They are just like, they have all the time in the world to be on their fucking phones and complain about shit. And that's where we are. That's a pretty good episode.
That's a pretty damn good episode. I love the fuck out of that. Shit, man.
Nice rant. High five.
It's awesome.
Wrap it?
Wrapping. Done.
Just done?
I don't know how it ends.
I don't know how.
Oh my god.
So...
We thought we were done, and then we sat here and we were getting into a cool conversation, so that we're just now what the fuck were we talking about?
Why I started the podcast, because, okay, so, go on Facebook, and I rarely just, scroll mindlessly, but, you got certain people that post stupid shit, and you're like, oh my god, this is so dumb, I have to respond, but I don't want to respond because I know I'm in a small town. That's the worst, when you argue with someone.
Especially for you.
And then, yeah, and I see the person in the street and I'm like, oh, hey, like, you hate me, I hate you, whatever, you know, and I try not to hate anyone, I don't hate anyone. But they might hate you, that's like I said, the left hates the right thinks the left is idiots, so I know they hate me anyway. My point being, I was trying to pull away, I was like, I'm not going to the internet at all, fuck this. But the whole world's going to the internet.
Yeah, you can't
It'd
avoid
be
it.
dumb to not go.
Yeah,
And so now instead of trying to hide from it, I'm trying to like embrace it and have some control of it versus being kind of just bowled over.
Just let it just
be
this toxic negative.
Yes,
because
exactly.
it's really easy to get sucked into just
is.
arguing with people and you obsess. You look at every fucking news, the headline that comes across your phone. And all
Well,
that,
like it's wasting time. Like I've definitely been like, I want to research. I'm arguing with so and so, and like I'm sitting there trying to read some article. Meanwhile, my kid's sitting there like, "Daddy, let's go play," and I'm like, I want to argue with this person. Yes, I've done that. I try not to, but I'm aware of it when I'm doing it at least, and I'm like, and I'll stop.
But this is way better. Now we have shit we want to talk about, and we just get it out.
Yeah.
Get it out now.
Next week, I think we're going to talk about maybe some Israeli. Palestinians were good. That's old topic. That's old topic.
And we can do that. And then we got some newer stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a hiring manager. I hire people for a living. I hire caregivers to take care of old folks. It fucking sucks. So, yeah, it's a lot of good stories with that. We both, well, dude, shit, we got some good stories about when I was 17, working construction with you.
Yeah.
Getting in trouble. Doing all
Lots
that
of
stuff.
cursing.
Lots of cursing. This fucker would never buy us beer.
Yeah.
You would buy me cans of Copenhagen, but you would never buy booze.
You'd harass me for 3 months to get a can of Copenhagen. I forgot about that.
Or maybe, I don't think you actually ever did.
No, I did.
No,
I
you
did,
finally
once.
did. I think you finally did.
And I didn't know what I was buying. And I go into the store.
You
I'm
bought the
just
wrong
like,
shit.
I'm just like, long cut, short cut, skull, mint, peppermint, something. I don't know. And you still chew?
No.
Oh, you quit.
Well, if I go shooting like guns or doing something, I'll throw it. No, I quit. My girlfriend doesn't like it. But I want to feel like a redneck every now and again. You know, I lived in Montana for a few years. It's still in me. There's like that deep-seated...
How come you never see gun racks anymore in back of trucks? In the pickup window?
You do if you go, like, when I would go down to visit my sister in Idaho. They're still down there.
Mm.
There's, you still see them. Up here, I don't know why you don't see more of them up here, truly, because we have fucking more guns than anybody and, like, the loosest gun laws ever.
I think people would steal them.
Probably that.
I think people are fucking thieves now.
Oh, they are, dude. Fucking angry. How is Girdwood getting bad with, like...
They'll come down and steal random shit every now and then. But it's not like... There'll be like spurts of it. They hit construction sites and stuff. Yeah. But Anchorage is not like it used to be. I was talking to Rosie. We're in town today. And I'm like, because we're like, I always debate how nice it'd be to live in. It was so nice in town. I was at Westchester. It's so nice.
Yeah.
Like there's bike paths, there's stores,
it's beautiful.
there's coffee
Anchorage
shops,
is a beautiful city.
and all the
if
bike
you
trails
live in
on the
right
hillside.
area.
Like you've been on the bike on the hillside.
Oh yeah, dude. Fuck yeah.
And then Kincaid trails and Girdwood's cool, but it's a little tiny thing. And Rosie,
Dude, Kincaid is amazing. There is people sleep on how much shit is actually out on Kincaid. Like you just fucking pick a trail, start walking, and you
That's
will
insane.
be amazed. You will be like, where the fuck am I?
yeah. So we live in Girdwood, and Rosie, my 11-year-old, her point was like, we only live in Girdwood because of the ski hill, Dad. I'm like, well, yeah. But and she's like, well, we don't live in Anchorage because we would get kidnapped. That was what she said.
No, she's not
like,
wrong.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, eh.
Well, you can just let your kids just like run down the street.
Yeah,
and do
she
whatever.
could bike to the park.
probably don't
She
even
just-
think about it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
Or
Would
Anchorage
you,
has definitely gone.
would you let her? Would you? I mean, how far is it from here to the park? Probably like 2 miles.
2 miles and.
Would you let Rosie bike
She
2
just
miles by
went.
herself
She's
in
there right
Anchorage?
now. Well, no. Yeah. It'd be weird, but I did. I used to as a kid.
I was never tired.
You know, we
and
bike
you're
all
no
over
one wants to
Anchorage.
fuck you.
A boy.
Oh, maybe. Not as much. Just like we want to go after little girls.
Yeah. So who knows? You know, we used to go all over the place and get in all sorts of weird trouble. And
Oh, yes.
anyway, that's pretty good. I'm kind of burning out.
Getting a little burned out. No, that was good. That was good. A little extra blurb.
Looking area, like the screen there. So, faithful viewers, I promised yesterday to give a race report on today's half marathon race I did today. It went all right. It was a COVID race in that it was broken up into different waves of. So
You
it
have
was
to wear a mask while you ran. Didn't
No, it was like 3 waves of 50 people. That was max. It was super funky, little. Like most Anchorage races are like
Hundreds and
1,000, like 700 to 1,500 is a good Anchorage race. So this was small, and I knew I was basically going to run off the front right off the bat, and I did, because I'm in shape. problem is, I don't know if it's a problem, but there's a guy who bikes in front of the group to like show where you're going, sort of thing, to break path. And I got on his butt. So my first 3 miles, first one was like 5:40, then 5:45, then 5:50. I was kind of hair fast. I should have been rocking 6:05. I wanted to do a 6 minute over. If I do a 6 minute overall the whole race, I would be right at 119, not 118, which would be good. But instead, I was like kind of pacing after the biker, which is bad because he can go obviously fast. So it was just like this trick because he's biking, and I was always kind of trying to catch him, you know. Where if you were running with an actual runner in the race, you could pace off them. At least it's a different thing. And as I was doing it, I was like, "Ooh, I should tone it back." And sure enough, you know, in the race, I actually had a long down. It lost elevation. It had a net negative downhill, and then the return back the last 5 miles was uphill. Slightly. It was like 200 feet over 5 miles.
Still.
But little punchy climbs.
I ran cross country, I know.
And in my split, so my half split at 6.55 was 39, where if I was at 40, it would put me at 120 total, which would be good. So I was 39, which was my fastest half marathon split ever. I actually got 2 PRs, well, according to my GPS watch. I had a 37-minute 10K and a 10-minute 5K within the race, within a 13-mile race. But point of the story was my last 3 miles, it was just like hell on earth. Like, my pace went from 5:40 to 6. It was a perfectly decline of pace, which is bad. You know you're supposed to start.
Yeah, you're supposed to start low. Yeah.
My pace perfectly was just. By the end, I was like 6.
Just gassed.
I was like 7, 7:10, 7:15, 7:30. Like that. My last mile was like 7:30.
Damn.
Which is bad. So I ended up getting 124 total, which put me 4th.
I'd argue 90% of the population can't do a fucking 7:30 mile.
90. I'm like 95.
Yeah. So you're in very good shape.
Anyway, I'm kind of tired from it. It wore me out afterwards. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, just fucking half marathon. You're a little more.
Just blasting. Half marathon's tough. You know, 5K is kind of like a sprint. 10K is kind of a long sprint. Marathon, you start real slow. Marathon, you're supposed to feel too slow for the first half, and then the second half is hard.
Yeah.
But half marathon fits right in there because at an hour and a half,
you just run.
Yeah, in an hour and a half, actually, you reach your glycogen depletion.
Is it the runner's high?
Huh?
Oh.
Well, glycogen depletion is sugar in your body. Your body can only hold so much sugar without eating more stuff.
That's why you guys.
So as soon as you go past hour and a half, 2 hour range, you gotta start eating something. Yeah, exactly. So it's a tough one because you're right there at threshold.
What happens if you just fucking pass out?
Oh, you'll just stop running.
Yeah,
you'll just be like, I'm too tired.
You just can't. Okay.
Point of the story is, I did it. That was great.
Good job.
Yeah.
The longest I ever ran was like 9 miles. Because I ran cross country in high school, but those were only 5Ks. We would do trainings or whatever they go on. So it was like 9 miles. Fucking hate it.
Yeah, you gotta, yeah.
I was good at it. I could do a 5K in like, was it 16:10 was my fastest?
16:10?
16:30.
You kidding me?
I was really
fast.
good. I was varsity fucking cross country. I was really good. And
my PR is like 16:20.
Well, dude, I only did it for the 1 year, and it was because my parents actually caught me smoking weed, and I was failing math, and the math teacher was the cross-country coach, so they put me in fucking cross-country, and I was really good. That was kind of like my big fuck you to the parents and the cross-country teachers.
You just go crush it. That's super fast for high school. Yeah.
Only one time. I guess on average, my 5Ks were probably closer to like 17, but I know for a fact my fastest 5K ever was, I think it was 16:11. 16:12.
Yeah, I had one at like 16:20. I had a bunch at 16 or 50, 17. You know, it depends on the course.
Yeah.
But yeah, running. Oof. And today, literally, I was like, there's a few miles. I'm like, why am I doing this? This is the last one I'm ever doing. This is horrible. It's so horrible. Especially that's the point. The half marathon. It's an hour and a half of like horribleness.
Have you ever just seen how fast you could do it with just 1 mile, just all out?
I could probably do a 450 right
450.
now.
That's
Barely.
I think
I don't have any speed. I'm too old now. I'm old.
Yeah.
I kind of got like freight train momentum. I can chug along, and I'm kind of big-ish. I'm 200 pounds, 6'1", so I'm kind of big.
So are most people that are running the Anchorage, are they like you, like 200 pounds, or they all little skinny guys like me?
Everyone's tiny, like you. You're like the perfect runner.
Yeah.
Tall, long, and lanky. The guy was calling me out today on being so huge. Like second place, it was like, what did he call me? He's like, go Beefcake. Or he's like, I saw you go out Beefcake, and I thought it was way too fast. Which was fast. The first one was 5:40. You know, we were quick. But anyway, I'm in good shape. If I was like runner's body with as good a shape, I'd be fucking killing it. Anyway.
I could be that perfect runner. I just abuse my body too much.
It's not too late. How old are you?
22.
Oh my god. 22? That's it?
How old do you think I
I was
was?
thinking like 26 maybe.
Oh, that's good. That's good that you think I'm older than 22. Yeah, I'm just a little baby. Everyone
22?
20.
Like, I got back into running again when I was 36. Like here, you know, because I went good, and then I had a lot of mountain fitness, which wasn't specific running fitness or whatever. So I had a lot of base fitness, but I'm right at the age where I'm like getting old and I'm at the plateau, right? Where you could fucking still, you could go to the Olympics.
Oh,
now.
dude, I could. Well, I don't know if I could do the Olympics.
I mean, anyway, that's so.
No, dude, I know it makes like my girlfriend gets so pissed because she like she has to like be like has to go vegan and has to like work out all the time, and I just like suck these down and I'm smoking weed and eat McDonald's.
Yeah, you'd probably like a month of training, you'd probably be crazy fast.
Oh, dude, if I took care of myself, I'd be gorgeous. Like I'm not. I would. I'd be fucking. I know. I know.
All right.
It makes a lot of people.
Good night, people.
Good night. I'm gorgeous. Jake's in
Jake's
good
getting
shape.
fat.
The world's all fucked.